Welcome back, Generals, to another Let's Fix General 0 Hour to make the best game ever. Good, we are back with this change. I think the Helmut has, he has left his approval here, so that's good. A couple use of log file. How do we name this? The name is a bit sad, I would say. Fix fix and simplify the use of log file and recorder class. Fix and simplify the use of the log file and recorder class. Fix and simplify the use of the log file and recorder class. Yeah. We also need to replicate it in generals. Fix and simplify the use of the log file. Fix and simplify. Okay, so we need to replicate it. Let me open. First, let me delete these guys here. Let me see. Replicate in generals. Okay, so we need to take. Where do we go? Here. This guy. Tools, git bash. And paste. And we take this guy, we take this hash, we put this hash here, there, paste. Then we take this hash and we put that here. And then we take this and then we do this guy. There we go, paste. And that has applied without any errors. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Then we do replicate in generals. We take these guys, commit. There we go. Reset, boom, push. All right. Then we do edit, replicate it with this and this. Oops. Copy. Replicate it without conflicts with holy shit. Replicate it without conflicts with that. Okay. Okay. Good, then we need to wait for the build to finish. In the meantime, we can check what else is new here. What do we have here? Is here. The list box length is set here. Any sample code. Any settings need to mean something. It says that the maximum. Helmut is not happy with the statement. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Like, it's totally unreasonable to override any settings with code. What is he thinking? I don't understand. I don't understand. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. Unrelated to this project and just the repo for the balance incompatible 1.06. But now I found apparently I thought wrong. Okay, I have no opinions on this until I get more acquainted with the plans. I will ask around. In the meantime, I guess I stop messing with this PR and see if I can help out with that when I have time. Which probably will be never. As an aside, either I've just been daft for the last few weeks or we really need some top level documentation on the plans and how to contribute to enable more devs to join. I've spent many hours trying to figure out everything out, and still the whole status plan is in large parts a mystery to me. That's not good. Not how to build, but just what the idea is and which tasks need doing and why. Even just a 10-line up-to-date contributing saying, oh, my priorities now are X and Y. We want to keep one company for now. We want to release after that. We will bundle this release. Need a launcher for that because it would have saved me much time and frustration. I don't feel equipped yet to write this, but obviously I would be happy to help. Yeah, I can see there's a lack of onboarding, a lack of documentation in regards to the project plan. So the problem is we don't have any active project management. There was supposed to be a management, but I haven't seen much coming from that side of things. It's mostly developers working on things, but yeah, there's no management. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the issue section. Basically, don't work on minor things. Only work on criticals. Work on stability. Yeah, we can have... Yeah, maybe we should write something in the contributing page. Yeah. But it also changes, right? The focus will change. It's not static. So it can be outdated quickly. Yeah. Yeah. Some things to note. Okay, let me, on that note of the contributing page, that has been here for a while here, since a month, yeah. Let me see, what is the current state here? Um, mm, Code edits only touch the lines of code that serve the intended goal of the change. Big refactors should not be combined with logical changes because these can become very difficult to review. If a change requires a refactor, create a commit for the refactor before or after creating a commit for the change. Pull request can contain multiple commits and can be merged with rebase and merge if these commits are meant to be preserved on the main branch. Otherwise, the regular method of merging is squash and merge. Code edits should fit the nearby code in ways that the code style reads consistent, unless the original code style is bad. The original game code uses C++98 or a deviation thereof, and is simple to read. Prefer to not use new fancy language features where not absolutely necessary to get a particular change done. Work in progress. Changes to 0 hour take precedence over generals if applicable. When the change code is not shared by both titles, then the change needs to be created for 0 hour first and then created for generals. The implementation of a change for both titles needs to be identical or as close as possible. Preferably, the generals replica of a change comes with the same pull request. The generals replica can be created after the 0 hour code review has finished. User-facing changes need to be documented in code, pull requests, and change logs. All documentation either is written in the present tense and not the past. User-facing changes need to be accompanied by comments where the change is made. Maintenance-related changes, such as compilation fixes, typically do not need commenting unless the next reader can benefit from a special explanation. The comment can be put at the beginning of the change file, class, function, or block. It must be clear from the change description what has changed. The expected comment format is that optionally the pull request number can be appended to the comment. This can only be done after pull request has been created. The title of a new pull request and/or commit within title of a new pull request. There's a typo here. Let me open this. Contribute doc. Let me rebase it onto main. Okay, add contributing. Contributing. The title of a new pull request and or commits within begin with a gen and or begin the title of any pull request and or commits within begin with a, okay, depending on the games it targets. If a change doesn't target a game, then a tag is not necessary. Furthermore, the title consists of a concise descriptive sentence about the change and or commit. beginning with the uppercase letter and ending without a dot. The title either begins with a word that describes the action that the change takes. For example, fix this, change that, add those, refactor thing. Yeah. If the pull request is meant to be merged with rebase, then a node for merge with rebase should be added to the top of the text body to help identify the correct merge action when it's ready for merge. All commits of the pull request need to be properly named and need the number of the pull request added as a suffix in parentheses. Example, all commits need to be able to compile on their own without dependencies in your commits of the same pull request. Prefer to create changes for squash and merge, as this will simplify things. The text body begins with links to related issue reports and or pull requests if applicable. To write a link, use the following format. Links are commonly used. From merging changes, there are pitfalls. Attempting to squash and merge. Yeah, let me just merge this thing and then we can go on to the readme. How about that? Okay, let me ask OmniBlade to review this. Hey, can you review this, please? No. Good. Good. Yeah, I would like to merge this and then maybe we can make a pass on the README document. Yeah. I withdraw my comment. It's used more widely than I assumed, so there are 3 string classes in use in the code base, not 2. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, how about we open the... There's somewhere a document with for the README thingy here, which also has been open since a month. Update README. How about we take this one, update README. Here, this guy. Jesus Christ. Okay, how about we merge main into this thing. Okay, I think we do this right. Oof. Yeah. Oof. Okay, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Let me delete that branch. Okay, let me simply open the README. Okay. Okay. How about we look at the README here? View file. Okay, so release, no release found. Code foundation, build up, backlog. Why is backlog here? I think that can be removed. Linux support 100%. Well, how about I would say we remove backlog. That seems to be a bit unnecessary. Yeah. And then we have this guy. Hold on. Yeah, 1. Okay. So we have 3. Then let's put the stability fixes rank number 2. And then x64 here, and then Linux at the end. Yeah. Okay. Welcome. It's a community-driven project. Yeah, what else? Aimed at maintaining and improving the classic RTS game. Command and Conquer channels. Contains the source code for both games with a primary focus on 0 hour. The game was originally developed using Visual Studio 6 and C++ 98. Project overview. The game was originally developed using Visual Studio 6 and C++ 98. We aim to maintain we aim to maintain this maintain C++ 98 and retail game compatibility in the short term for our first releases. We aim to maintain. The game was originally developed using Visual Studio 6 and C++ 98. We aim to maintain C++ 98 and retail game compatibility in the short term for our first releases. In parallel, we are building up the game to in parallel. We are building up the game to work with modern compilers, modern compilers, C++20, x64 architecture. It's x64 Linux. With modern compilers, C++20, X and Linux. Yeah. The main goal of this project game was originally developed using Visual Studio 6 and we okay, how about we revert this once more? Okay, how about we just rewrite this section? Okay, oh, this is annoying to write. Let's simplify this. This project aims to fix and improve the classic real-time strategy RTS game. Command and what is happening here? Command and Conquer Generals NX expansion. Command and Conquer Generals 0 hour. For both titles. This project aims to fix and improve the classic real-time strategy games. Command Conquer Generals, Annex expansion, Command Conquer Generals 0 hour. This repository source code for both titles. Complementary to this project. Complementary to this project, there is another repository for all data related fixes and improvements. Including scripts, languages, to 2D and 3D art, scripts, artworks. Complementary to this project, complementary to this project, the general game page repository provides fixes and improvements. Provides complementary to this project, the general game page repository provides data related fixes and improvements. Data includes scripts, let's say ini, scb, wnd, what else? Any scb, wnd, scripts, str languages, textures, W3D, models, audio, data includes scripts, language texts, textures, W3D models, audio, and similar data includes files like data includes any scb, wnd, scripts, language, text, textures, W3D, audio, and similar. Is that a good text? I don't know. Good. So is this now built? Yeah. Okay. Then we can merge this, fix and simplify the use of the log file and recorder class. Okay, let's delete this branch. Okay, next, let me stash the changes we just did here. And then we go to multi-client. No, not yet. Go to main. main pull rebase. Okay. Then we rebase this. And there is a conflict, so we solve that. Okay. Instance, okay. Okay, how do we solve this? Yeah, I think let's make a copy here. Yeah, make a copy. Then we accept this here. Yeah. Okay. Continue. That's another conflict. Then we do add review comments, address review comment, debug CPP. Okay. Okay. Then we take this guy. Then we move this guy here and this guy here. Yeah. Hold on, that's not the whole story. Move this guy here and this guy here. Then we take this and that and this and that. Okay. Then we go here. Yeah, okay. And then we do this. Okay, let's see if that compiles. Yeah. I don't know if ID is a good name here. ID. Let's put also some space here. Oops. Are particles even necessary for simulation correctness? Good, that has succeeded. Fantastic. Okay. Instance ID. Instance. I don't like this ID thingy here. I don't know. Oh, I can't decide how to name this thing. Recorder. Maybe call it inst. That's hard to read, isn't it? Instance. 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 Oof. What is this? Okay, so we start one client. Let me close here some files. Okay, so this is the first. We start another one. Instance 1. I wonder. I wonder if we should maybe get instance ID. To me, it looks a bit confusing if the second instance is called instance 1. It's a bit confusing, isn't it? Maybe we should start counting at 1 and not at 0. Yeah. 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 So there are two possibilities, either or three. First option is to just leave it as it is right now. So the first instance is labeled as no instance. The second instance is labeled as instance 1. But it's a bit confusing, right? Second option would be to just like on the printout, we just add 1 to the numbers. So 0 becomes 1 and 1 becomes 2 and so on. Or here we change the counter at 1 here. The first instance is 1 and not 0. Yeah, it's like the first client. First client has ID 1. Could do that. And then we say if instance ID is larger than 1U, then we do this. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me search for get instance ID. Then here we would say if instance ID is larger than 1, then we do this and this and that. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's a bit better. Yeah. One U. Instance U. S. Okay. Okay. Do we want to put a colon in here or not? Maybe not. Okay, let me go in here and clean up the logs. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so if I launch the original game once here, yeah. So this is the original game. And then I launch here, then it should also, the instance should now show as instance 2 here. All right. Yeah, there we go, instance 2. The only issue I have with this is that it makes it indexing more complicated if the instance starts at 1 instead of 0. Yeah, maybe we should. Yeah, I don't like it. Okay, how about we do the following? We do actually just change it for the prints. So here we revert this. So we change it back to 0. Maybe we can, hold on, how about we do the following? We do static unsigned int get instance ID, get instance. How about we do get instance ID, get instance. I have an idea. How about we call it get instance index? We do index here. Index returns the instance index of this game client, and here starts at 0. And then we do another returns the instance ID of this game client, starts at 1. I think that's returns the instance ID of this game client, starts at 1. Yeah, I think that's a better idea. And then here on the index, we simply we create a new function, put that here, boom, boom, and then we do return get instance index plus 1. There we go. And then here we start at 0. We rename this get instance index. There we go. First client, yeah, just starts at 0. That's it. Then here we do 0. There we go. Then we do get instance ID here. Then we say if ID is larger than 1U. There we go. ID 1U. There we go. All right. There we go. Yeah, I think we can do that. Okay. Yeah, so the ID always starts at 1 and the index starts at 0. And then if there ever was a use case where we would want to use the IDs in a list or an array or something, then we can just use the index, instance index. Yeah. Yeah. That works. Okay, and so instance 2 log was created here, yeah. Instance 2, yeah. Okay, reapply debug log fire name change and start instance ID at 1 instead of 0. Reapply log file name change and start instance ID at 1 instead of 0. Instance Okay, commit. Okay, then we got this bullshit done. Let me launch one more client here. Instance 2. The 2 is a bit hard to see here though, isn't it? Yeah. Let's go back to game text. How about, isn't it possible to do dot 2u? Isn't that a thing? Let me see. Maybe it's a bit easier to see if it has a leading colon and a leading 0. It looks a bit fatter, the number. Mm-hmm. 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 Instance 2. Yeah, I think that's easier to read, right? Yeah, 0, 2. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we can do the same for the logs and the other guys. Get instance ID. Dot to you. Okay. Okay. Print number, print single digit instance ID with leading 0. Leading 0. Okay. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Then how about next we replicate it to generals? So we take this guy here. This guy. Okay, then we take this guy here. Copy. Paste, okay. And then we take this guy. Copy. And paste. Paste. There we go. Okay, let's see. All right. And then we do apply. There we go. Okay, let's see what rejections we get. A couple. Oof. Yeah. Okay, so this was somehow rejected. I think what we need to do is open it here. Okay, so we look for this string here. Yeah. Okay, there we go. our name. Okay. Oof. Oof. How can we show white space here? The render white space is checked, but it doesn't show us white space. Huh. Huh. I think I already... Now it's showing it. Oh, that's weird. You need to toggle it once before it shows it. Huh? That's so weird. Why is it so bugged? My gosh. Okay, so this one is replicated. Here we are missing some include win main CPP. Win main CPP here. Behind team. Here. Common team. Win main. Why was this not possible to replicate? I don't know. It looks like it should have fit in here. In-game UI. Strange. Okay. Debug. The same here. Debug CPP. Debug behind Unicode string here. Yeah. Let's search for this guy. Oh. Let's search for this guy. There we go. Client instance. Okay, that should work. Yeah. Let's see. We enable generals. Let's enable everything. Extras, tools. Yeah, this. Extras, tools, everything. Debug. Yeah. And multi-instance. Debug, multi-instance. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Configure. Generate. Okay, reload. And let's go. Oh. particle class called synced RNG functions. Oh. I wonder if that is a mistake then. I wonder if that is a design mistake then. Okay. Let me drop this stash here. Good. It has succeeded. Fantastic. Fantastic. Then let me close this and then revert these guys here. Yeah, reset, and this guy. Okay. Okay, then we say here replicate in generals. Okay, there was one more thing I wanted to tweak, and debug.h here. This one here. Hmm. Hmm. Debug init. Why was this search not shown in both? Hmm. I don't understand. I search for this string and it doesn't show up. Why not? Huh? Entire solution. Somehow this guy doesn't show up in here. Why? Maybe we need to restart Visual Studio. There we go. Now it works. Again, bug. My gosh. The super hackers at info. Therefore, debug initialization can happen very early. Debug initialization very early in the function. Kind instant now. Okay. Adjust comments. Debug comments. Okay. Good. So compilation has succeeded. Then I think we can push this. Let me see if we find any more strange thingy. Debug, client instance. Okay, let's run it one more time. Oh, we already did plenty times. Good. Let's push it. Push. Okay, then let me replicate it with okay, let's have a look one more time. Good, so this looks identical. Instance is also identical. Recorder, yup. Debug. Code updated. Code updated. Code updated. Okay. Okay. Okay, then replicate it to generals. Replicate it to generals. Adjusted instance IDs. So it's now starting at 1 instead of 0. Starting at 1 instead of 0. So now start at 1 instead of 0. Okay, so from my side, this change is done. Yeah. Windows application manifest. Value judgment. Not a fan of adding the PR number to the commit message, or generally referring to GitHub or this repo specific things. I cannot reply to this here. I cannot reply to these messages here. I don't know why. That's strange. Usually there should be like a message underneath where you can type a box like here. But somehow it's not possible here. Okay. Okay. Okay, then let's get back to the contribute doc. We rebase it onto main. Okay. Okay. To contribute. Please, I don't know if we have to say please. To contribute, fork this repository to create your own copy that you can clone locally and push back to. To contribute, fork this repository to create your own that you can clone locally and push back to. You can use your fork to create pull requests for your code to be merged into this repository. What? Fork this repository to create your own copy that you can clone locally and push back to. Yeah, you can use your fork to create pull requests for your code to be merged into this repository. Okay. 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 Fixed. The document already states that PRs prepared to be merged as multiple commits can be, so that only really leaves squashing for PRs that aren't prepared that way. PR merge style is more of a repository maintenance thing than a contributor issue. Maybe revert the last sentence to otherwise method of merging will be squash and merge. Okay. Okay. Otherwise, the method of merging will be squash and merge. I don't understand what the difference is, but let's go with it. Really, we are only ruling out the GitHub default of creating an additional merge commit and allowing non-linear history. Okay, so it looks like we need to create a new comment here. Fixed. Somehow GitHub does not let me comment on the last three on the prior last three comments. Fixed. I would remove the word fancy from describing language features as it implies a value judgment on their suitability, and just leave it as something like prefer not to use newer language feature unless required to implement the desired change. Yeah. Okay, fancy. Hold on. Is this maybe part of some other comments? Here. That's why. I see. Now I understand. Fixed. Let me say, let me be more specific. Edits. Fixed. Okay. Fancy. Fancy. Okay. Um, Code edits should fit the nearby code in ways that the code style reads consistent, unless the original code style is bad. The original game code uses C++98 or a deviation thereof and is simple to read. Prefer to not use newer languages unless required to implement the desired change. Prefer to use newer language features when they are considerably safer, considerably more robust than the old. Prefer to use newer language features when they are considerably be more robust. Yeah. More robust. Prefer to not use newer language features unless required to implement the desired change. Prefer to use newer language features when they are considerably more robust. Or make the codes easier to understand or maintain. Prefer to use newer language features when they are considerably more robust, or make the code easier to understand or maintain. So for example, you wouldn't want to use str copy or str cat, right? Instead, you want to use like some safe way of building strings, right? Code edits should fit the nearby code in ways that the code style reads consistent, unless the original code style is bad. The original game code uses C++98 or the deviation thereof and is simple to read. Prefer not to use newer language features unless required to implement the desired change. Prefer to use newer language features when they are considerably more robust, or make the code easier to understand or maintain. Okay. I also appended additional sentence. Prefer to use newer language features when they are considerably more robust, or make the code easier to understand or maintain. I'm personally not a fan of adding the PR number to the commit messages, or generally referring to GitHub or this repository specific things in them, as if cloned or forked, they won't lead back to the relevant items at all and will end up meaningless. Referring to issues in PRs and PRs. Issues and PRs and issues is fine as they are mostly locked in the repo in question. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable argument. It is a reasonable argument. Let me see. If cloned or forked, they won't lead back to the relevant items at all. Yeah. This is a reasonable argument against this practice. So do we Philippe is also not a fan of this, so we prefer to not do that. Not do that then. And abandon. Abandon this practice now. But it means we can no longer do any rebasing, because then we definitely lose the links to the pull requests. But that means we can then no longer do any rebasing, no longer do any force pushes to main, because then we definitely lose the links to the pull requests. And we need the links for The problem I have is I need some link between the commits and the pull request for documentation purposes. It makes it so much easier. The link in the commit makes it infinitely easier to find a textual. The link in the commit makes it infinitely easier to find a textual changelog entry that is ID'd. That is identified with the link in the commit makes it infinitely easier to find a textual changelog entry that is identified with the pull request number. If we it is possible that retroactively it's infinitely easier to find a texture change log entry that is identified with a pull request number. Note that squash and merge will automatically place this place this number into the commit title form. We would have to manually remove it before each squash. Each squash and merge. So do we prefer to not do that then and abandon this practice now? Against this practice, especially for forks, yeah. Note that the link in the commit makes it infinitely easier to look up the pull request and find a texture changelog entry that is identified with a pull request number. Losing this number will make lookups. Infinitely is a big word. Let's say, note that the link in the commit makes it easier to look up the pull request and find a texture changelog entry that is identified with a pull request number. It also groups related commits together in the history. You would partly lose that. Good. Let me push the fixes. Address OmniBlade, review comments. Okay, commit. Okay, push that. There we go. Good. Then good. GUI edit list box properties. Okay. Maybe use mutex class from the Vega slip rather than using encapsulated WinRPE. Will make porting it later easier. Oof. Mutex class. Lock. Locked. Name can and usually should be null. Lock. Wait infinite. Yeah, let me write an answer to this. I think that would be a bit more involved refactor because that mutex class, I think that would be a bit more involved refactor because that mutex class does not provide anything for get loss error already exists. Outside the scope of this change. Yeah. Okay. Then let me see this guy here. What is this? Fix a potential heap overflow in GUI edit. The actual buffer size is smaller than the claimed buffer size passed to. Let's see. 200. Size. Percentages. What the hell is that? It also leaks, doesn't it? What? Holy shit. What the hell? This also leaks. This all leaks. What the hell? What? What does this function? List box properties. List box properties. GUI edits. Okay, which line is this? This guy. No, this guy. Buffer overrun. Yeah. Okay, so this guy will leak. Okay. And this one, yeah, it's taken here. Okay. Well, it will leak here. Yeah. They have no concerns for leaks here, by the looks of it. Yeah. This one will also leak. Yeah. Let me see if there are more news here. New. This one is maybe leaking. I don't know. Temp. Temp is leaking, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Stability fixes, labels, minor, tools, stability. fix. Crash. Actually, not sure if that's a crash. Let's remove that again. Looks good. Also, it looks like there are a ton of memory leaks in this code. Some of these new chars, looks like a ton of memory leaks in this code. Perhaps can tackle that in a follow-up change. Some of these new char things, new char can also be changed to stack buffers. Fix list box properties overflow in GUI edits. List box. List box. Buffer overflow. Let's say fix buffer overrun in this box properties of GUI edits. Fix buffer overrun in list box properties. Okay. Have we had any luck finger? I expect changing all these linked lists to arrays will have tangible. I expect changing all these linked lists to arrays will give tangible performance boosts. Okay. Then good. Then I think I will take a break here. It has been 2 hours 10, yeah. Yeah. Good. I will take a break here. Then I wish you a great day or night. Until next time. Goodbye.